Hello and welcome to our channel. In this video, I will show you how to customize the default value for different types of fields in the form, as well as how to configure a global preset for the entire form. This solution is perfect for forms editing already existing content. I want to quickly remind you to check if you are subscribed to our channel, since only a reset person is subscribed. And put a like to this video so you can support our channel and speed up the release of new videos. For this tutorial, we will need JetEngine, JetPopup, and JetFormBuilder plugins. First, I want to show you how the default value for a specific field works. Let's create a form and start with a text field. As usual, the field on the front end will be empty, but you can add any content to it by default. In the field settings, find the section called Value. There are several ways to customize it. Via Preset, this option works for editing forms when you need to get content that has already been added to the site. We will look at this option in detail later. You can also add macros here or use other fields from the form. Another option is to add static text. Let's see how it looks on the front end. As you can see, the text is inserted in the field. It can be removed or changed. Now I want to show you how you can select a specific category as the default term. For this purpose, I will use a radial field. Source terms. Without settings, it's just a list of categories from the taxonomy. To set the default option, we need to specify the value of the needed category. On WordPress, it's the category ID. To find the category ID, open the taxonomy in the dashboard and hover over the desired item. In the link at the bottom, you will see the ID. This ID should be specified in the field for default value. And on the front end, you will see that the category we specified is already selected in the form by default. Also, let's see how we can use default value for a regular option field. Let's add a checkbox field and add items manually through a bulk option. I'll have a list of countries. This option allows you to specify both the label and the value of each option at once. To set up the default selection, we need to copy the value of the needed item and add it to default value field. This method will work if you also take data from radio, checkbox, or select meta field, or use glossary. To learn more about each field source, you can watch the video in the tooltip. You can also set up a field dynamically depending on the other fields. To do this, you need to use the dynamic value option. Let's add a radio field with all job offer posts. I want to select a certain post depending on the selected country. For this, go to the settings of dynamic value and specify what post should be selected. For this, need to take the ID of the post. Done. Now we choose the apply type. There are 3 types of them. On change condition results, the value will be applied if condition checkups return a result different from the first checkup's cached value. Once option, the value will be applied only the first time the condition is matched, and always. The value will be applied every time the condition is matched. I choose the always option. Then, select the field depending on which you want to apply the value. For me, it's the field with a list of countries. Since this is a checkbox field, the operator should be in the list, because in the checkbox, you can select several options. And in the next field, you need to specify the value of the option depending on the selection of which you need to select a certain post.
For me, it will be the value that I copied for the option Australia. Also, in the pop-up, you can enable the option to apply the value only if the field is empty, as well as add more conditions. Save the settings and let's add one more option. As you can see, it adds the operator OR. That is, several conditions will work. Let's add a post ID to be selected, then a field depending on which post will be selected. In the list operator and a value. This time it's a value for the Canada option. Let's see on the page how it works. Select the Australia option and see how the post is selected below. Then select Canada and another option is selected. You can also customize this type of value through the whole form. For example, let's add a price field that will change depending on the selected offer. We add a range field block. Customize the minimum and maximum value, then go to the dynamic value. I want that in this block would be set value 500 if in the field with post selected post with ID 4972. This post is also selected automatically if selected Australia. Please note, since jobs field is a radial field, need to select equal operator, as in the radial field a user can select only one option. Check how it works. If I select this post, in the range field is set value 500. As well as if you clear the field and select Australia, you can see how it works for several fields at once. Cool feature, isn't it?
Now let's see an example of how to customize a preset in the form. For this, I want to show you how to create a form to edit a post. I have a post type for jobs. In the post type, I use a field for salary and some text fields for detailed description. Let's start creating the form. Since this is a form for editing, it's important that the form has the ID of the post we want to edit. For this, we need to add a hidden field and select the current post ID option. Because I want to use the form in the pop-up, which I will add to the listing grid. Also, you can add the form to the single page. After the hidden field, I will add a text for the title. Select field for taxonomy. Checkbox for another taxonomy. And below the meta field, a range field for salary. Also, I will add 4 text area fields for job description, requirements from the candidate, working conditions, and responsibilities. Now, let's get the preset settings. Preset can be customized for each field separately or globally for the whole form. There are several types of source for the preset. Post, data from the form stored in the items of a post type. User, information that was already typed in by the user during the registration process and mentioned in the user's account. URL or query variable. Data from the URL. Option page. Option available only if Jet Engine is installed and activated. Allow setting preset based on options pages. And related items. With this source, the preset will be taken from the relation items. Since this is a form for editing a post, you need to select the post source, and then a selector appears to specify where to get the data for the preset. As far as this form will be added to the listing, we need to select Current Post. Next, need to configure where the field to take data from. For the post ID, choose the same option. For the name, choose the title. Then the taxonomy. Choose the post term option, and from the list, choose the taxonomy we need. For meta fields, you need to choose the post meta option and manually specify the key of the meta field from where you need to preset content. Since when creating fields, I added the key from the meta fields, I can just copy them. Make sure that you paste here the key the same as meta field. When all fields are filled in, you can add an action. It will be Insert Update Post action. Select post type and status that will be after updating the post. Note that for the edit form, it's required to specify the post ID option in front of the hidden field where you specify the ID of the post you want to update. Then attach form field to the meta field to save the updated value and save the form. Now, let's create a pop-up using the JetFormBuilder plugin. In the pop-up, add a JetForm widget and select the created form. Since this pop-up will be added to the listing grid, in order to paste data about the post to the form, must be enabled in the settings option Loading with Ajax. Save the settings and open the listing for posts. In the listing, we add a widget button. In order to open the pop-up, you need to open Advanced Settings, go to the JetFormBuilder section, and select the desired pop-up, as well as enable the option Jet Engine Listing Pop-up. This listing are used in the user profile. Let's check how the form works. Click on the button and see the form in the pop-up, as well as how all the fields are filled out according to the post we click on. Great! Now you know how to customize the preset for the current post. There is another option for post editing. For example, if you want to create a separate page with the form, and the link to this page should be in the listing grid. For this, we will use Query Variable option. Query parameters are a defined set of parameters attached to the end of the URL used to provide additional information to a web server when making requests. In the form, we need to edit the hidden field from current post to URL query variable and specify the variable name itself. This name can be anything you want, but it must be English letters only, without spaces and special characters. Also, change the settings in the preset with the same name. Now, open the listing and add a new widget, Dynamic Link. As a source, I will select Profile Page, where I have a pre-made section for editing the post. In order to see how to create a profile, I recommend to watch a separate video on this topic. Since this link should paste the post ID, you need to enable the Query Argument option. By default, there will be an argument for the post ID. The argument consists of two parts: the variable name, which can be anything, and the macro, which will pass the value. Make sure to check that the variable name in the dynamic link and in the form are the same. Save the listing and let's see how it works. Hovering over the link, you can see the post ID in it, and also that the preset shows all the data from the post. Now you know how you can create a form for editing a post and show the data using a global preset. Let's look at another case, a form for editing a user. I have several meta fields created through MetaBox. I want to create a form so that user can edit their data through the profile on the front end. Create a new form. First of all, configure the hidden field. It will be a form in the pop-up, so select the current user ID. Then I want to add a media field so that I can change the logo. A text field for the company name. Select field by glossary source to select the number of employees in the company. Also a text field for the link of the company website and email. Add a user update action, and the same as in the previous case with post, in the action we need to specify the hidden field to the ID option that will update the user, and connect the fields from the form with meta fields in the user profile. In the preset, we select the user option, and in the next field we have three options. Current user is the current logged-in user. Queried user, the ID of the user we clicked on from the listing. URL query variable allows setting the query variable name to take the info based on the URL. First, let's check how the current user option works. Customize the form fields by selecting the fields from where we want to pull the content. Let's create another pop-up. In this pop-up, we don't need to enable the option to load in with Ajax, as I will not add the pop-up to the listing. Open the template for the user profile, add a button, and select the pop-up in Advanced Settings. Also, disable the option Jet Engine Listing Pop-up. Reload the page, open the pop-up, and see that the form shows the data from the currently logged-in user. Also, let's check how to set up preset for a separate field only. I want to show you how it works on a text field with the company name. Disable this field from the global preset settings. So on the front end now, this field is empty. Open the settings for this block, and in the dynamic value field, click on the preset button. The settings are the same as for a global preset. Select the user source, get user ID from the current user, and specify the field name to take the data from. Great! Now if we reload the page, in the form the name of the company again with the data. Now let's see how we can customize the form for the queried user. A queried user means that this is the user on whose profile we are located. Not the current logged-in user, but the current open user. In order to select the queried user in the hidden field, you need to put the manual input option and set the preset for the field in the default value. Set up it to users, then queried user, and from the list choose the user ID option. As well as in the global preset, change from current user to queried. Then, we open the template for the single user profile and add a button with a pop-up. Please note that it's not a profile page, but single user page. We open the profile of any other user, click on the Edit button, and in the pop-up we see the data from his profile. That's how easy you can create a form and customize different presets to automatically show data that can be edited. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a comment and subscribe to our channel. Your feedback is very important to us. Bye-bye!